This is Ethan Preston from Preston Outdoors. I'm coming back to you guys with another video series here, and we're going to be talking about reel and rod management and storage for the winter months when you're not fishing.
Bass. Light boom. That is the biggest fish out of this lake I've caught. Oh my God. There we go.
So across the region, wintertime fishing or non-open water time fishing really varies where you're from. A lot of times, some of you guys in the southern United States, really you can open water fish all year long. I live here in North Dakota and we haven't been open water fishing, or at least in the area I'm at, from the mid to end November. Here it's already in December. So what I like to do every year, as I got my rods and stuff out on the deck of the boat, is in this series I'm going to go over on how I take care of my tools. So that way when I take off next spring, you know, April, March, depending on whenever it warms up here and we get rid of our snow and our ice, I want to talk to you guys about how I take care of my rods and my reels to make sure that they're good to go for me next spring. So for the beginning of this series, I want to really focus on reels and reel management, also a little bit going into detail on how I go into cleaning my reels for this time of the year. So in this first video here, we're going to be talking about the KastKing Speed Demon. I'm going to take this, this is my tube jig rod here. I'm going to take this apart. I'm going to basically, what you would normally do, I'm going to cut this tube jig off, put it back in the tackle box, reel my fluorocarbon line up here. We're going to go in the house where it's a little bit warmer. I'm going to kind of break this reel down and show you how I'm going to go about cleaning it. So now we got the tube jig cut off here. We got the reel and the rod. We're just going to take that off. And now I'm going to kind of go in and talk to you guys about basically the bare bones of how I clean my reels and take care of them, get them ready for next season. I don't really open them all the way up, take everything out, basically gut them and put them back together, because when I've done that in the past, they don't always go back together very well. Basically any product will work. Just find what you're more comfortable with. I'm using a little product or just some spray that basically it's going to help the line but also be able to clean out the reel. So one of the major things, you know, I'll open up this case, pop this shield out here. Okay, now I don't even like taking the spindle out. I just leave that in there, but I'm looking for dirt. A lot of times where these bearings and stuff are, I'm looking for dirt. Now this is one of the newer reels I've had, so it doesn't have as much wear and tear on it, and I don't really use a tube jig setup for in thick matted vegetation. So like my frog rod will be all full of, you know, moss and stuff like that. Safe for everything. I'm going to spray that all down, and what I end up doing is basically just swabbing out. We're going to get some dirt here, swabbing it out. A lot of times these spindles up in here where your line guide puts in, that gets a lot of crap in there. And that's kind of basically what I'm going to do, is go through this whole thing. Anywhere, any moving part here, you can take this out. There. We got that out. Now that it gives you access to the other side here. Like I said, most of the time, if it's not too dirty, I won't take it out, but I'll take it out for you guys here. And we're just going through and swabbing this whole thing after we sprayed it. Now after we've got all done swabbing the inside of this frame, everything else, I'm going to put the spindle back in and reconnect it, spray it a little bit more and run it through. So I'm going to get this cleaned up and I'll show you what to do next. So this is basically just a very bare bones tutorial how I took it apart. Basically this Q-tip has already got a bunch of gunky nasty stuff that we did out of here, and when you let it sit, the rest of the residue and stuff in there, if we miss some, will basically break down a little bit. And some people ask me, why do you clean your reels and try to do that? Basically some people say, every time I clean a reel, you know, I can't get it together again, or it just doesn't work again. Well, I use my my KastKing reels and rods and stuff quite often. As you can see here, catching all these fish, using them day in, day out, tournament tested. You know, I've fished quite a few tournaments over the last summer, and so these reels have really gotten good use out of them. And it's just me protecting my investment. All my rods, reel, and line, I feel as an investment into my my fishing for fun, my tournament fishing and stuff like that. So me taking a little bit time in the fall, winter here before I put everything away and really focus on ice fishing is just an investment to make sure that, as you can see here, as I'm catching fish in the summer, the spring, or spring, summer, and later into the fall, that the gear doesn't give up on me. So I want to thank you guys for watching. Again, from Preston Outdoors. I have Preston Outdoors on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter as well. So I want to thank you guys for watching, and tune in next time.